So far, ornaments like the trees and fountains and all those things that you can see here in the culture tab were actually quite reserved to the beauty builders out there. But now with this new mode, there is a reason for all players, including your min-maxers, to use them. Let's dive right in. I'm StratGamer and welcome to a new Anno 1800 mod review episode. Today we're looking into one mod that is called Attractive Ornament from HanSolo85. Thank you very much HanSolo85 for creating it and sharing it with the community. If I'm not mistaken, this is actually not exactly the first mod touching on that topic, but it is the most recent and quite, I think, the mod that touches it in a very simple way. So I did want to show it all to you, including to all the min-maxers out there. Because let's talk about attractiveness. So attractiveness is pretty useless for most people. It is linked currently to just a few elements. One is for your palace, you want 33,000 attractiveness, right? If you don't know about that, don't hesitate to check my video appearing now at the top or in the description below. This is very important for your palace. But outside of your palace, attractiveness so far is quite limited to the impact, let's say, to the money that you're making from your visitors, a bit to your tourists, right? For example, here I have now, given that the attractiveness on this island is not that high, 1,340, I'm getting a malus for all of my tourists or hotels, if you wish, here, which reduces their consumption and therefore the population and the money that I make from it. But that's pretty much it, you know, it doesn't impact that much the whole game. And more important than that is to get attractiveness. So far, there wasn't really a lot of ways to do so. It was mostly you put a botanical garden or you put a zoo. There was, you know, a few of the items and palace policies that you can see once again in the video I mentioned before, but it wasn't actually linked to how beautiful your city really is. You know, it was linked to a few gameplay elements, but not really to the beauty of the city. Now with this mod, this is changed because all of these culture elements, from, you know, your basic tree, like this small tree here, to your fountains, like this one, your statues and all those type of things, now they all bring attractiveness. What it means is that even for a min-maxer who usually is very careful about the space, they could use, you know, a very small corner of the map where there's, for example, only one tile. If there's only one tile in this corner, they know they won't be able to put anything, right? They won't be able to put a house or anything. It's just one corner, one tile. They can still put a tree and now get something from it in terms of gameplay, right? Especially on your crownfall to get the 33,000 attractiveness. But more important than that, in my opinion, is for all of the casual players out there, now there is a reason to make your city, you know, a beautiful city is using ornaments, because those ornaments will be counted towards your total city attractiveness. And therefore, you know, now we can start a bit in a sense comparing the attractiveness of one city versus another based on this. Whereas before, if I were to compare my attractiveness of my capital, you know, compared to the attractiveness of Taka's capital, obviously his capital is way prettier, it's way more realistic, etc. It's full of ornaments, but his attractiveness in this you know, tab was probably actually lower than mine, because if you go to my capital, obviously I'm at way more than 30,000 to get the full impact of the palace, while I don't have a single ornament, right? The city is completely ugly, it's a production city and all of this, right? But now it does make sense to start using those ornaments with an impact on your city. And of course also there is, you know, some thought behind this, where a small ornament like a tree that only takes one tile will give you 2 attractiveness, while something potentially bigger like a fountain we just saw before, this one gives you 12, this one is even bigger, so it will give you 32, etc, etc, right? So different elements also based on their size will give you a different bonus. And really, I think, that could also create some new challenges around there, right? Like we could say something like, let's create the city on Cornwall or another island, right? Doesn't make any change, with the highest attractiveness, but which is a city that actually looks good, right? With ornaments. So anyway, this was one mod, again, by Onsolo85, which for all of your ornaments starts adding very clear attractiveness that you can see, that you can compare to, your museums and all those type of things. The one thing though I would mention is it's still not enough for me, to be honest. It's not enough for 2 reasons. The first reason is, yes, it's great that now it has an impact on attractiveness, and therefore I can see it here. But it still doesn't change the fact that what I said at the beginning, which is that attractiveness actually doesn't matter. In terms of gameplay, yes, it's gonna change just a bit your income from your mooring, public mooring. It doesn't even have to be a tourist one, it can be just a normal one, right? It can impact just a bit how many visitors you get in terms of, specialist items, but we get so many of those already. And similarly for the money, we get so much money already from other things. It was interesting that there was a clear impact on the hotels, but at the same time the hotels are useless because their bonuses are useless in most of the game. If you don't agree with that point, don't hesitate to share in the comments, but I also have a couple of videos touching on that. So anyway, first reason is, as I said, I think it impacts attractiveness, but attractiveness it is useless. So until we make attractiveness useful, it still limits the power of this mode. And then the second reason why I think this is still not enough is when I look at some of those numbers, right? Like a big fountain, which is gonna take me quite a bit of space and could make this area super pretty, it's 32, right? It's still nothing compared to a set of three small modules, which will give me 300, 400 of attractiveness. It's nothing compared to the bonuses that you'll get on Cornwall, with where's my palace? Give me 1 second. Some of those things like 200 attractiveness just to put a town hall, right? Put a town hall, I get 200 attractiveness. There is also items in some of those town halls. I don't know if I have an example here, but that give you 50 attractiveness just to put that item in a town hall or a trade union. So again, I think this is just not enough in terms of just the number itself. But once again, I do think this is a very interesting mod for casual players and even min-maxers to start looking at ornaments and make their city prettier. Hope you liked this episode. If you did, press the like button and hope to see you next time.